Today is Tuesday, the 14th of January 2025, and I owe it to all you wonderful donors to tell you what outcomes I've achieved after my 12-day stay at Ayur Center in Jalan Utara, Petaling Jaya. I was discharged this morning at 9:30, and I will save the differences it has made to my eyes till after tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm going to Vision Space in SS2 and doing a optical coherence tomography OCT test, which is like laser scan or CT scan of the eye, and it will give a cross-section imagery of the retina, so you can see the thickness of the retina, whether it has increased or not, and you can also see whether the choroid layer is filled with serum or not, because one of the issues I had was serum filling in the choroid layer of the retina, and that condition is called central serous chorioretinopathy. Central because it's the center of the macula. Serous is to do with serum, the adjective for serum, and then choreo because it has to do with the choreo layer, and retino means the retina, and pathy means something gone wrong. So that's that illness. So I'll save the more details after I do the test tomorrow. I'll also be doing a split lamp test, which would determine the degree of my cataract. So it should be less than previously. So previously, when I tested, I last did a split lamp test on November 13th. My what do you call it? Degree of cataracts was 20%, according to the optometrist. And about 2 weeks later, when I checked at the ophthalmology department of University Malaya, the postgraduate student, the fourth year postgraduate student, the ophthalmology MO, the graduate MO, said my cataracts was between 20 and 30%, because in the ophthalmology they don't give the stages of cataracts in terms of percentage. They have a different way of staging cataracts, whether it's immature, mature, all that kind of thing. There are basically 4 stages. So anyway, I'll be interested to see what improvements there are tomorrow. But what I can tell you is in the 12 days or so that I was at the Ayur Center, I've never had the need to use my sunglasses, because I was indoors most of the time with the curtains drawn, and no need to go outside. But I did go outside once or twice at noon just to test my pupillary reaction and to see whether there's any difference. So the difference is this. This is purely subjective. It's not quantitative. You'll get a more quantitative result tomorrow. Okay, so when I go outside, things are still bright and white. So there are certain things I just can't see because it's too bright. But this is going outside without sunglasses just to test, okay? So but what happens is there's no pain, because last time the bright sunlight used to be painful to me and couldn't stand it. So sometimes when it's very bright, I even have to wear 2 pairs of sunglasses over each other. I have my regular sunglasses and I have these over glasses, which are like safety goggles, but are tinted with medical grade polarizing lenses. So I have to use double to be able to see comfortably without pain. So now I can open my eyes outside and it's not painful. And the other thing which has gradually happened, because I've been going for the treatment since November, as Ayurveda as an outpatient and then as an inpatient the last 12 days, is that I don't see things with a sepia tone, and colors are more vivid as a result of that. So like a bucket they use at the Ayurveda Center, it looks cherry red to me. Previously it was more like crimson gray, didn't quite make out. But what happened 2 or 3 days ago, this is not just subjective thing, the floor of the Ayurveda Center I thought was plain colored. But 2 or 3 days ago, I noticed was actually mottled. So I didn't notice the mottling before, because one of the things with this cataract, I can't resolve things. I don't see fine detail. So that fine detail suddenly appeared to me one morning after my treatment. So, I was quite pleased with that. So anything I tell you now will be quite subjective, but tomorrow I'll do the Ishihara test, which is a color blindness test, and there are 24 plates in that test, so I'll see how many plates I can discern the numbers, because the previous time I did it on November 13th or November 20th, I think November 20th, because we forgot to do the Ishihara on the 13th. I couldn't see a damn thing. All 24 plates, I can't make out the numbers in the Ishihara test. Okay, so that's as far as my eyes was concerned. Okay, now you have to understand that Ayurveda is a holistic approach to medicine. It doesn't address or relieve symptoms. Okay, it addresses the underlying root cause, the underlying pathophysiology. And if you read Professor Robert Lustig's book, he explains that there are only 8 pathophysiologies that are responsible for all non-communicable diseases, okay? And all non-communicable diseases are a manifestation of one or more in combination of these 8 pathophysiologies. So they manifest themselves as various diseases. So one of the pathophysiologies is insulin resistance, which is the underlying pathophysiology of diabetes. Now, let me explain that diabetes, which I've had since, I was diagnosed in 2017. A lot of people have a misunderstanding about diabetes. They think diabetes is high blood sugar. Diabetes is not. I repeat, diabetes is not high blood sugar. Hyperglycemia, high blood sugar, is a symptom of diabetes. It is not the disease process. It is not the underlying pathophysiology. So in Western medicine, they do not address the underlying pathophysiology. They give you metformin, which relieves the symptom. And Western medicine is produced by Big Pharma, which also puts out a lot of agnotology out there. Agnotology is keeping people ignorant, the art and science of keeping people, practice of keeping people ignorant. So what they do is, Big Pharma is a business, and all businesses want to maximize profits. And how they maximize profits is to make you a lifelong repeat customer. So they give you metformin, and then they say you have to take it until the day you die. And the metformin doesn't work because it doesn't address underlying pathophysiology. It only relieves the symptom. And eventually you need to increase your dose, and then once you reach a maximum legal dose, then you have to take other medications. Okay, so there are issues about metformin. Number one, metformin reduces your blood sugar level, so your blood sugar level looks nice and you think your diabetes is gone, but it hasn't. The underlying pathophysiology is still there. Big Pharma wants you to be ill, but it masks the illness by relieving the symptoms, so you don't know that you have an underlying pathophysiology, or you manage it. Okay, so the underlying pathophysiology is insulin resistance, which is actually fat cells. Fat molecules, intramyocellular lipids, if it's in the muscle tissue, blocking the insulin receptor site. So it actually binds with the insulin receptor site. So insulin can't bind with the receptor site on the surface of every cell in your body. You have to understand that glucose is your friend. Glucose is the fuel that fuels every cell in your body. So when the insulin receptor site is blocked. It's already bound to the intramyocellular lipids. Insulin can't bind there. So you just imagine the cell as a house, and on the surface of the cell is a door. It's the gateway for glucose to enter the cell to fuel it. But the keyhole, which is the insulin receptor site, is blocked by chewing gum, which is the intramyocellular lipids. The insulin, which is the key, can't open the keyhole because it's already jammed up with these, gummed up with this intramyocellular lipids. Okay, so the insulin doesn't work, and that's what they call insulin resistance. So because the insulin can't work to unlock the glucose pathway, the glucose remains in the blood. Now, glucose in the blood in itself is not the issue. The issue is the glucose can't go where it's supposed to go, which is your cells. So your cells are starved of fuel, and they eventually atrophy and die. And depending on which organ or which tissue is dying, it will manifest as different diseases. So type 2 diabetes, generally it's the muscle tissue not able to get the glucose from the blood. And if it's your brain not able to get glucose, you get type 3 diabetes, also known as Alzheimer's. And if it's your nerves, and I have this issue, it's called diabetic retinopathy. If your nerves can't get glucose, then you get diabetic retinopathy. If it's your retina that can't get glucose, then your retinal cells will atrophy and die, and you get diabetic retinopathy. And if it's your kidney cells that can't get glucose, they will atrophy and die, and eventually end up with chronic kidney disease. Okay, so the list goes on and on. So insulin resistance will manifest as different diseases, depending on which issue is more susceptible to the insulin resistance and not getting enough glucose. So in my case, what we do is we try to get rid of these intramyocellular lipids, okay? It's a form of ectopic fat. Ectopic fat is just a big word for misplaced, because fat in your body is meant to be stored in fat cells, in adipose tissue. This is the fatty tissue under your skin. Okay, so if it's saturated, and this happens with thin people because they don't have much fat cells to begin with, then the fat becomes ectopic, and it goes around your body trying to find somewhere to call home, and it usually lodges in the insulin receptor site because the size is right enough for it to get clogged up there. If it gets clogged up in your blood vessels, you get cardiovascular disease, because when your lining of your blood vessels don't get glucose, then they die and they harden. And then when they harden, they're inflexible, they can't dilate, and your blood pressure goes up because your piping is clogged up, it's stiff. And yeah. Okay, so what the treatments do is try to get rid of the extra fat in the body, and that can be seen by my weight. So my weight and BMI have gone down. My weight is 63.6, which is the lowest it's been in the past 18 months. So that itself is an achievement. And considering at the Ayurveda Center, if you've been viewing the previous health updates, you see I hardly walk, like 0.13 kilometers. That's 130 meters. I just go up and down the stairs, or, basically I'm just in bed resting, or going to the toilet to relieve myself. So I hardly walk up any stairs. By comparison, today I've walked 5.1 kilometers as of 3:21 today, and climbed 6 flights of stairs. Okay, so and then the blood sugar this morning was a bit high. It's 9. The lowest I've had at our center was 6.5. But yesterday evening, at night I was a bit naughty. I was feeling peckish, and I ate some raisins, which I, snuck into the Ayurveda Center. You're not supposed to bring outside food, but then Anyway, I'm not very concerned in the Irish Center if my blood sugar goes up a little bit because I hardly exercise there, hardly walk anywhere, hardly climb any stairs, well, I do have to go downstairs for my treatment and come up, but there's only like 2 flights of stairs, so not much exercise. So the other things is the eye treatment, where they pour, a decoction, a herbal decoction over my eyes. That's called Netra Dara. Netra means eyes, Dara means pouring, so pouring medicine over the eyes. That removes impurities from the eyes. Now, if you read the Ayurveda literature, they're not very specific. They don't even use the word toxins. They just say impurities, because you have to understand these Ayurveda texts were originally written like thousands of years ago. But they do know that there are impurities that need to be removed. And things like oxidized proteins in the eyes, okay? So initially when I did the Netradara, it smarts a bit, and then the pain got less. But the last treatment I did yesterday, no pain at all, no discomfort, nothing, no irritation. So the therapist says that happens over time when, all the toxins are removed and there's nothing left to come out. So there's a good sign when it doesn't hurt anymore. And also in Irish Center, you have to open your eyes when they pour the decoction. Whereas on the videos that I've seen on YouTube, they say close your eyelids. But then in the other videos, they keep pouring for about half an hour. Whereas in Ayurveda Center, they just pour about 150 ml over each eye, and then that's it. Okay, and just to let you know, because somebody in the comments asked where can I buy this decoction thing, you can't buy it. Okay, therapist has to pour it on your eyes. It's not a do it yourself thing, because the angle that you pour has to be right, the height has to be right, the volume you pour each time has to be right, and it takes training to do that, so you can't do it yourself. And in any case, the decoction, there are many different types depending on what your doctor prescribes, and these herbs have to be boiled or heated up and allowed to cool down and all that. So it's not something you can do yourself as far as the Netra Dara is concerned. And then for 4 days I did another treatment called Netra Tarpana. Netra Tarpana. Netra means eyes again, and Tarpana is ghee. So traditionally they use they make like a dam around your eyes of dough made of gram flour. And then to make it pleasant, they put some essential oils in the dough so that it smells nice. But at the Ayur Center, they're more modern. They use goggles with the glass removed. So you just wear these goggles, and then like swimming goggles, and then they pour the ghee, medicated ghee, on it. And you just have to blink and roll your eyes for 20 minutes, okay? So it's not as traumatic as it sounds. It's actually okay, because the ghee is body temperature, so it doesn't feel, they get the temperature right, so it doesn't feel hot or doesn't feel cold. And then they make sure the ghee is completely dissolved so that you don't get any sediment irritating your eyes. Okay, no solid bits. Okay, so the reason why they use ghee is because ghee is a solvent for fat soluble toxins, so it's easier for it to come in and dissolve with the fat soluble toxins and remove it. And it's removed through other methodologies. They do the Vasti. Vastis are enemas, and there are 2 types of Vastis that I did over a 5-day period. First 2 days I had to do an oil enema, which is the what's the name now? Sneha Vasti. Okay, so this is about 150 ml. I made a video about this, of the therapist inserting the enema up my back passage. Of course, I didn't show you the graphic bits. I showed you by face, but there's a video about that in one of the health updates if you want to have a look. Okay, anyway, those first 2 days was preparation for the big one. The big one is called Kashaya Vasti. This is a decoction, and it's a lot more. It's about 700 ml of a herbal decoction. And that one is inserted in, and then you just sit up for a while until you feel like releasing. Then you go sit in the toilet and everything comes out. So that's on the third day, and then fourth and fifth day, the last 4 and 5 days, I did the Sneha Vasti again, the oil enema. Okay, so when the oil enemas are done, it's mutually exclusive with the Netra Tarpana, because the Netrapana uses ghee. So the oil, when you do oil for one part of the body, you can't use oil for the other part of the body, because the solvents, will go to the wrong place and all that kind of thing. So I had to do the Netra Dara while I was doing the Vastis, either the Sneha Vasti, the oil enema, or the Kashaya Vasti, which is the herbal decoction Vasti. And the herbal decoction, there are many types depending on the doctor, what the doctor prescribes for you for your condition, depending on what dosha you have. Dosha is this Ayurvedic term. And there are 3 doshas, Kapha, Vata, and Vata. Yeah. So anyway, I won't get into that because I don't know much about it, and I also think it's a bit of a fiction. But they denote certain characteristics, and these characteristics change over the course of the day. So it's like, ancient times, how they want to describe the circadian cycle, how body is prone to different things at different times of the day. Okay, so that is the Netra, the Ayurvedic treatment to get rid of fat-soluble toxins. It's topically applied, and the water decoction, or the water-based herbal decoctions is well, both of them are either antioxidants, emulsifying agents, or chelating agents. So in the eyes, when you have too much zinc, it's problematic because they can form drusen. So they try to get rid of the extra zinc in the eyes. And then the oxidized proteins, which is the root cause of cataracts. So that's that. And also the insulin resistance, to the cells of the retina, so they get rid of whatever fats in there. So I remember the first few days my eye wax was very soft and waxy and copious, so the therapist said that's all the fat-soluble toxins coming out of my eyes. And then gradually it became less and less. But there was one particular day I had sandy, granular eye wax, which was, like stuck in the corner of the eye. It's called Mabum, this eye wax thing. So that's how the body get rid of fat-soluble toxins in the eyes. They put it in the eye wax and you excrete it that way. Just like earwax is how the body gets rid of fat-soluble toxins from the ears, and all this waxy waste from the body. Okay. Now, generally, water-soluble toxins are quite easy to get rid of by the body. You drink enough water, you piss it out, and that's fine. And if you don't drink enough water, the toxins will crystallize, and where they crystallize, depending on where they crystallize, they cause different problems. So if they crystallize in your kidneys, you get kidney stones, and that's problematic. If it's uric acid, they crystallize in your joints or between your muscle layers, and then as they rub each other, your flat muscles, then they cause irritation, and it's you feel it as pain or aching, depending on the degree. So Ayurveda, basically, the principle is very simple. Body knows how to heal itself. If the body can't heal itself, it's because of either of 2 reasons. One, wrong nutrition. You don't have the building blocks for the body to build the chemicals it needs to function. to repair the body and all that. Or you're eating toxins and they, inhibit the body's physiology to do what it needs to do. So in that, you have to get rid of the toxins at the same time, eat good nutrition. Now, the food at the Ayurveda center is edible. It is not delicious or tasty, okay? But it's edible, and some people might think it needs a little bit more spice, a little bit more salt, it needs to be sweeter, whatever, but there's a reason why they make it bland, so that it's easily digestible, one, and secondly, don't add toxins to the body, so that the medicines they give and the treatments they give can work without complications, okay? So we have to get rid of the toxins in the body, that's one thing, and then don't add more toxins into your body as well. Okay, so if you eat right, you don't add the toxins, and then you get rid of the toxins. So getting rid of water-soluble toxins, as I mentioned earlier, is quite easy. Drink enough water, it'll piss it out. It's the fat-soluble toxins that are problematic. So these various modalities that Ayurveda uses is to get rid of the fat-soluble toxins mostly. Okay, and the hot oil massage is a form of it's similar to the Swedish lymphatic drainage massages. So get your lymphatic system working. The lymph system is how you get rid of fat-soluble toxins in your body. So once the lymphatic system is working better, it's easier for your body to get rid of the fat-soluble toxins together with all the other herbs and stuff they give you. They apply it through massages or the eye bath or the enema or, as medicine. Okay, so that's how it works in Ayurveda. So the results will take some time because once the eye cells can receive glucose or the nerve cells, then they can start forming new cells. And the medications they give, many of them have amla, and what the constituents of amla is ellagic acid, and ellagic acid is vital for the formation of stem cells. So it takes time for the new retinal cells in my macula to regenerate and grow. So we'll see. I'll do an OCT and whatever test tomorrow, and then we'll do more maybe in a month's time or later, or maybe just before I see my ophthalmologist at UMMC. They've been pretty hopeless. They've never discussed treatment options or treatment plans. They basically wait until my cataracts matured and go opaque, and I'm like really blind, can't see a damn thing and desperate, and then they will offer surgery. And surgery, as far as they're concerned, is a big money maker lah. So they basically use a laser to cut your lens in your eye, then they use ultrasound to smash it to smaller bits, and then they use a vacuum to suction it out. And then they will pop in a new plastic lens, and it's actually, they cut a slit in the side of your eyeball, they insert it that way, and when it's inserted, it's folded like a butterfly, and it goes in, it pops open, okay? So I think it's an end-of-pipe solution, which rather than addressing the root cause, you wait until it gets so bad and then you do an implant. So the cataract operation is basically an intraocular lens implant. It's a plastic lens, take out your old one, put in a new one, artificial one, making you into a cyborg, Anyway, with the weight going down, it means, fat also been removed. So I'm happy with that. So it's the lowest weight in the past 18 months. So, that's a good sign and a good trend. I just have to keep eating clean with my whole food plant-based diet. I've got hundreds of recipes that I've made. So I've got videos on that, like almost 400 or maybe just over 400. I can't remember. But I'll post a link to my recipes if you want to try my whole food plant-based recipes. Okay. Yeah, that's it for today. It's a long one, I know, but I think I owe you an explanation. See you next time. Bye.
Thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to show your support.